Welcome to the Upshot. It's Ulti World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. It is Thursday, March 13th. We are one day away from the second Pro Tour stop of the season, the Waco Annual Charity Open, stalwart of the DGPT. 3 rounds at the Beast coming up. I'm Charlie EIsenhood. Joining me, Josh Mansfield. Josh, you fired up for this is a classic event, one of the shortest courses on tour.
It is. I am fired up. It's gonna be good. I think. I don't know. I'm glad that the Texas Swing is only two tournaments. I'm glad that it's like, I think the having Austin be the pro, like the DGPT Plus event. It's just, it feels different this year. Feels a little bit more refreshed, and I appreciate that. And I'm excited to see Waco again. I think part of it, as the Pro Tour has changed, Waco really stands out now in a way that I don't know if it did in the same way, a decade ago or 8 years ago. Because in terms of length, our courses have continued to get longer and longer to the point that Waco, now is like noticeably shorter than most of the other events on tour. And before, it was kind of like there were other short events, and there are other technical events, and there are other windy events, and there are other open events, and Waco has a little bit of it all, but it also kind of felt like it got lost in the crowd a little bit. And now it really does have its own very distinct flavor compared to everything else on the tour. And every year I just find myself a little bit more excited than I was the year before to go watch and play the Beast again. Yep.
I hear that. I'm broadcasting this weekend with Brian Earhart and Juliana Korver. Excited for that. And so I was talking to Chris Dickerson yesterday, and I basically asked him, I was like, what do you think of this course? Like, it's got one of the shortest distances in terms of like how far you need to throw to get into Circle 1 in regulation on the whole tour. I think it might be literally the shortest. And he said that he likes it, that it's a rare combination of park and woods and technicality with some bomber shots. And he said the par threes are a lot easier than average, but much more technical. And it said it's more like the disc golf we used to play, like at A tiers. And so it's a good change of pace. Good to have these kinds of holes mixed into the tour. Because, I mean, it is true that there are probably 6 or 7 holes on this course that are legitimately super easy birdies for pro players. Like, don't hit a tree and you're going to get a birdie. And you don't have to be able to throw it a country mile to get the birdie. Like,
it's anyone 400 feet
with even below average tour distance is going to have no problem getting birdie on a bunch of these holes. But there's like a pressure that comes with that. Because if you don't get the birdie, if you do hit the tree, if you do shank you miss the 25-foot putt, you just lost a stroke to like 3/4 of the field.
The greens are also very technical. And so a misfire on those short holes, or because something that's really important about the Beast is that the last 15% of your flight, like, it can't just be like, oh, beat the gap and then you're good. It has to be beat the gap and control where your disc is going to go at the end. We've seen people who make it to Circle 2 who still get 4s. And it's just because the greens are very technical, and if you go in the wrong direction of that green, you're in trouble. And so it really is unique and interesting, and one that has become both the staple and standout at the same time. It's especially with the wind on Friday. Oh boy, it is going to be a wild day one.
Yeah. So, I mean, the wind is what makes this course. Basically, it's going to be sunny and warm. 80 degrees tomorrow, and then around low 70s over the weekend. But yes, the wind will be up. We will have sustained 16 mile per hours coming up to around 20 on Friday, starting first thing in the morning. And then Saturday will be more like lower wind in the morning, up around maybe 15 miles per hour in the afternoon, and then not windy Sunday. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that affects scoring. The wind direction will be shifting a little bit throughout the week as well. So it looks like it's going to be a straight wind out of the south on Friday, and then it's going to be a wind out of the west on Saturday. So the Ella Hansen told me the tricky thing about this course is that they play courses on tour where it's just windy.
Mm-hmm.
And they also play courses on tour where it's not windy. But this one, you play in the wind, you go into the woods, it is not nearly as much of a factor, and then you have to come back out of the woods going in the opposite direction with wind again on your mind. Yeah. So that, like, keep that in mind when you watch this tournament, because it's deceptively simple, because you look at some of these holes and you're like, I could birdie these holes.
Yes.
And you probably could. On like a normal conditions? Still day, you probably could.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Can you believe that this was the tournament 5 years ago that got shortened because of the pandemic?
That's crazy. This is basically the 5-year anniversary, more or less.
It is. Yeah. This is the one where they waved off the final round. They finished round 2, and then everybody was done, and we were done with disc golf for 6 months.
Okay. Literally 5 years ago today, they announced that round 2 would be played without spectators. They then canceled round 3. They subsequently announced that. I remember calling Jeff Spring and being like, what is happening? And decisions were being made in real time. They announced that round 3 would be canceled and that the second round would serve as the final round. Colton Montgomery won the tournament in MPO 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And then that was it for, and we didn't know at the time, what that all meant.
Right. We didn't know that was it.
And it wasn't so long later. I think the tour started back up in June.
Was it that
so it was
quick?
Only a couple
I thought
months.
It
was pretty quick.
I thought it was July, August. But maybe I'm crazy.
Let me run back through the...
Because it was Jonesboro. They did a delayed Jonesboro, I thought, later in the year. Maybe that wasn't the first one back.
Man, looking back at these headlines, it's just... it was a tough time, man.
It was a tough time.
Inside the disc golf shutdown, what might be next? Did someone destroy disc golf baskets in Oregon to discourage park usage during coronavirus pandemic? Which people didn't realize at the beginning, no, actually, that's the right thing to be doing, is being outside playing disc golf. PDGA furloughs half their staff. PDGA postpones and cancels majors and NTs through July and suspends sanctioning through May. DGPT still targeting July restart. And then, Disc Golf Pro Tour to restart June 26th.
Okay.
That was it.
That's basically July.
They came back with DDO,
okay,
which was the first time we'd had DDO.
That's right. Was it?
Yeah. Because it was glass blown open.
Uh-huh.
And then they announced
I guess
now
you'd
it's
be right.
going to be dynamic discs open.
I remember, I think it was the next year.
Then they went to Preserve for the first time. That was the first time we played Preserve.
Yeah.
And then they rescheduled Jonesboro for October. Remember?
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember Jonesboro pretty distinctly because I think didn't Calvin win that one?
I think so.
It was a Calvin McBeth battle in 2020 Jonesboro, and it was super exciting.
So they ended up doing DDO, Preserve, D-Glow, Idlewild, Ledgestone, MVP, GMC, Jonesboro Tour Championship.
Did they allow spectators back at Jonesboro? Is that why?
No. So remember,
no,
we never had spectators this whole season.
We didn't. Okay.
Or if there were, it was completely minimal.
Right.
And then in 2021, it was Waco, where they brought spectators, and it was packed.
It was packed.
They sold it out.
Yeah.
Remember, and they were selling tickets for the first time too. We'd really only sold tickets at USDGC to that point. It is so crazy to look back and think about how much disc golf has changed since this time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As we came into the COVID, basically Jeff Spring had just taken over from Steve Dodge in operations of the tour. And it was DGN, we want 3,000 subscribers, and they got 10,000 subscribers.
Right.
And then kaboom.
Okay, that spectators. We had the 2021
all
Worlds.
the people who started playing. And then, Wall Street Journal article about dynamic discs.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. Then you come back, you have Worlds with what was it? Was it like 3,000 spectators?
That was Utah Worlds, right?
Yeah, Utah Worlds.
It was I don't know how many people it was, but they packed that crowd for the holy shot.
Packed it, yeah. And then the holy shot that just like blows MVP through the roof.
Dude, it's so crazy to look back.
It is.
It's not that long ago.
It isn't. It really isn't. It feels like an eternity ago, though.
It does. It really does. But yes, literally 5 years ago today, COVID shut down the tour. Man, that's something else. Holes to keep an eye on. Hole 9, maybe the iconic hole on this course. I think more people would say 18, but I like 9. 9 is the kind of like tricky, tunnely tee shot out into the open. And if you can get it all the way down into the bowl, then you're going to have a putt, maybe circle 2, even all inside circle 1 for eagle.
Mm-hmm.
It's gettable for MPO. It's gettable for the big arms and FPO.
Yeah.
We did not see an eagle there last year in FPO, but don't be shocked if we get one this year.
Yeah. I also really like hole 7. That's the one that you're like don't want to really get stuck in the ravine, because and then playing up to the steps, because a bad shot hitting those steps can roll away.
Yep, I love the steps are awesome.
Steps are awesome. That one's fun. And then obviously 17, 18, 2 of the best finishing holes, like series, that you have, thanks to the wind on just about any event. I mean, they are excellent.
Yeah, 17 is the horseshoe, with the kind of like precise landing zone. It's the whole Valerie Mondahano threw that incredible upshot on to lock up a win. But you can go over everything with a tomahawk,
right,
if you've got the stones to do it.
Stones and elbow. Oh
That's true.
gosh.
See a couple people do it every year.
Oh,
sometimes from the tee, sometimes from the fairway.
Yeah, that's true.
If they like,
if they hit
down early.
Yeah,
seen some cool shots there. And then of course 18, 468-foot par 3, massive water carry. If there's a headwind, it's brutal. If there's a tailwind, it's pretty exciting.
It is. It does still get interesting though, because the number of players who juice that and skip long in the tailwind, we see every single year, and
Absolutely.
so it really does depend on the wind. It's an interesting shot. FPO is a par 4, still a 470 feet. We do see FPO players, some of the big arms, go over in 1 though, don't we?
Yes, with a tailwind.
With a tailwind,
the big arms will go.
I wish they would slide it forward 30 feet. That's it.
Just to open it up to more players.
And not even more players, just to open it up in both in tailwind and still conditions.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Because like if it's still, I don't know, does Ella go for 468 in still conditions?
I think Ella would go if it was calm.
Dead calm? I guess we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Let me look at last year. So last year on 18, there were in the third round 6 birdies and 1 eagle from Natalie Ryan. It's a par 4 for FPO.
Right.
In round 1, there were quite a few birdies, so it was probably a tailwind in round 1.
Right, huh? Yeah. How many eagles?
Although I guess I shouldn't say that because there's 0 eagles. I shouldn't say that because it's most likely that these players are going over in 2.
Yes. Oh yeah. Those birdies all have to be going over in 2.
I mean,
there's no way they're getting across in 1, laying up, and then putting in.
Let's see. Did Ella have a? So Ella had a circle 1 putt that she made, so probably didn't get over into. Like if you're in, you would have to be in circle 2, right? Like with your tee shot, and you can still get a birdie if you go over and then you have a little chip up.
Yeah, but you probably want a missed putt on the score. Yeah, 30. I think it needs to be 30 feet closer.
MPO round 1, only 5% of players got a birdie.
Headwind.
That was 6 players. And in round 3, 25% of players got a birdie.
Yeah. Wind is
crazy
crazy here.
So remember, assuming the wind stays consistent, which is in no means guaranteed, what the players feel on hole 1, if it's a headwind on hole 1, then they play the before they go into the woods, that's all headwind.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come out of the woods and they're playing all tailwind until they get to 17 and 18, which they go back into the headwind.
Flips around.
So 1, 17, and 18 are always, assuming the wind stays the same, are going to be in the same direction.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. That first hole is also super interesting.
Our first hole is interesting. That is, again, controlling the disc and how it's landing is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
2 changes we talked a little bit about with Brian on Tuesday. We've got images of the caddy book up on YouTube if you want to take a look. Hole 15 is back to the power box hole, but the power box now is OB. And so players are going to have a decision at 558 feet. It's not too long. If it's a headwind, this becomes a little bit more interesting. But it just becomes like, how much do you want to bite off on that drive? Before, and with a tailwind, I mean, there are guys who could go after this hole if they wanted to, but that OB is going to make that decision a lot trickier. It probably won't. I don't expect to see anybody really making that attempt until round 3 when they're trying to make up strokes. Hole 16, the other hole that had a little bit of modification. The traditional landing zone, as you can see, is significantly skinnier. This is the roller hole. The OB. Is the basket further back into the corner than usual? Because that backside OB is an inside circle 1 now.
I don't know if they change. I think the pin and the tee are exactly where they used to be, but maybe they've changed the OB.
Maybe. Gonna be interesting to see if you have players going after the eagle like they have in years past, with just how much tighter this OB is. Man. This was a fun hole. Brian mentioned it as well. This was a fun hole because they'd always go for like the big roller and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see if people are still going for that or if they've completely removed that and now it's just like chip shot birdie with poor scoring separation.
Well, right. So the goal from the OB changes was to change the risk reward profile for just being able to throw a big shot and have a really like a very short upshot, right? 100-foot upshot. Right. They want you to have to decide if you're going to go for it or if you're going to lay up short and have a longer upshot into the pin.
Right.
We'll see how it changes the hole. I think it's still going to be like very straightforward birdie.
I think so too.
But it's going to be less straightforward than it used to be.
Yeah, that probably.
And I do like the idea that you can decide, hey, I'm going to run it, right?
Yeah.
If you have a tailwind, you're like, I'm going for it.
I'm sending.
The scoring separation is very slim here.
Mm-hmm.
This tournament hasn't been decided by more than 3 strokes in MPO in like 5 years. It is not one where we're going to see somebody pull away to a massive win. It's very unlikely. And it also opens up the door to lots of different kinds of players to shoot well.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, your best rounds came from James Conrad, Nicholas Ansela, Cole Redolin, and Greg Barsby. They shot 51. Course record, remember, Josh? It's iconic.
Crap. What year?
2019.
Was it?
It forced them to change par.
Oh, of course. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Paul McBeth's 18 down.
18 down. He shot a 49 in 2019.
And all they did, they literally were just like, well, that's dumb. That was a par 4. Sorry, that's a par 3 now. Good luck, everybody. That's
literally what they did. So, I mean, look, no one's shooting 18 under, but we could see somebody shoot a 49. Kyle Klein shot a 50 in 2023. And the course, while there have been some changes, it is very similar to how it was when McBeth shot his 49.
Oh, yeah.
A couple OB changes, but basically the same.
They just changed par. That was it.
Yeah. So a 15 under would be tying the course record and a legendary round.
Yes.
So I just want to put that in people's
that'd
minds.
be a 48.
I think it would be a 49. It would tie McBeth.
Oh yeah, because they changed par. Sorry, I'm looking at 2023's par.
Yeah, they changed hole. Completely.
Yeah. My bad. I forgot that they had the complete hole change for 2023. That's what I had up. Wrong one. My bad, everybody.
Let's see. I also a quick mulligan for myself. I think I said 9 was the hole where eagles were possible, but I think for FPO that's true. For MPO, it's going to be 7. Where
it was 7. Okay, you described it, and I'm like,
9. I confused myself with my notes. 9, you're driving down into like a bowl area in the before you pitch up to the pin.
And that
like
one,
a miraculous drive, maybe you could have a look for eagle.
Well, isn't 9? Yeah, and this is one that we see players take 7s on.
Yeah, that's
if they
hole.
hit early. It's nasty. No, okay, 7. I thought you were describing 7.
I was
and then
describing
you said 9,
7.
so I was like,
my notes.
I'll describe 7.
Yeah. My notes said drive to the bowl, but then my notes on 7 say pin in the valley, which is what I was.
Well, pins above the valley, right? There's a little valley right before.
Like you go down into the hole, and then it's like up the steps a little bit.
Yeah. All right. We're good, everybody. We're good. Charlie, I have a proposal. Came from an email listener on I think it was on Discord, who they said that their favorite segment of 2 years ago was hole 18 reviews.
Oh wow, and a very polarizing segment.
It is a very polarizing.
Some people
segment.
truly hated it.
They did. So their proposal is a reoccurring segment would be hole spotlight, where we get to pick a whole series of holes, give them a rating, and we can pick it for its very good nature, or we could rate it as a stinker and say this needs to come off. So whether we like it, dislike it, whatever holes or series of holes we like, we are just highlighting kind of where that is. And then I even think that if we want to do rating style, we could keep a separate list and keep track of the worst hole or holes on tour and keep track of the best ones based on what sticks out to us. Little less repetitive than just, hey, hole 18, it's the draft shape. It gets, it's a big landing zone. It gets skinny. Do you remember that when 6 tournaments in a row all had the exact same hole 18 from Utah World's shape? And we're like, okay, this is fun.
They took it too far.
They took it too far though. Everyone wanted to set up for that. So thoughts on hole spotlight as our new segment.
I love it.
Okay. So as we watch this weekend,
we're doing it post tournament, right?
Post tournament. Yeah, we're not doing it today. Okay. I wanted to just let you know so that as we are watching this and you're commentating this tournament, we're thinking about what our whole spotlight is going to be.
Good. I love it. We have another new segment, and it's coming up in just a moment. It is called Pound for Pound, presented by Pound Disc Golf. And we will tell you more about that and what's up in our first Pound for Pound segment this week. We're going to do that on the other side of this break. We'll be right back on the Upshot. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Pound guarantees all of their packs against defects in materials and workmanship for the lifetime of every pack. That means that if there's a problem with your pack that is not related to general wear and tear, they'll fix it. And hey, if you wear out the shoulder straps, you can replace those. The whole goal is to get one pack for life. They want to help you get it fixed. And if there's an issue with manufacturing, they'll fix it and they'll cover the cost of shipping both ways. So make sure that you get yourself a Pound bag and get one that you can use for the rest of your life as a disc golfer. Brand new 2025 Octothorpes, all new redesigned, are pre-orders right now. So go over to pounddiscgolf.com and get yours today. Welcome back to the Upshot. We've got a brand new segment for you. Welcome, everybody, to Pound for Pound, presented by Pound Disc Golf, carrying excellence. All right, so Pound for Pound, here's the deal. What we're going to do in tournament previews, we're going to be comparing two things and talking about how they match up. Could be players, could be courses, could be weather conditions. I don't know. You get the idea, right? We're doing tail of the tape for two things and trying to pick out, which one has the edge, which one is the better of the two. And what we're going to do this week, is it a fair fight? Maybe not. But at Waco, perhaps. Luke Humphries going head to head, pound for pound with Paul McBeth. All right, so first things first, throw up the Statmando head-to-head stats all time. McBeth is 80-8 all time against Luke Humphries when they're in the field together at a tournament. Look, I mean, I don't need to go through this. McBeth has 17 wins. Humphries has none when he's in the field with McBeth. 75% top 10 rate for McBeth, 5.7% for Luke Humphries. But Josh, things are a little different at Waco, aren't they?
They are. Yes, they are.
Tell us a little bit about some of the facts about Luke Humphries here at Waco.
Listen, Luke Humphries, every year we have the Luke Humphries storyline, and at least that's the way it's felt for the past 3 years, where he pops off and has an incredible performance, and then the rest of the year is him hanging on to those DGPT points that he acquired at Waco. And it's interesting because Luke always comes in right around the bubble of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships thanks to his performance early here in the season. 2 second-place finishes over the past 3 years. Luke has both of his highest cashes of his career at $6,500 last year and $4,200 in 2022 at Waco. It is noteworthy. While he had both times he had those second place, it was just kind of stumbling at the finish line, giving it up to Gannon last year. And 2 years ago, to his opponent here in pound for pound, Paul McBeth, when they went 1-2 to finish Waco. This is Luke. Luke does not throw super far. And so it really is kind of the great equalizer and gives him the opportunity to match up against someone like Paul McBeth. And Paul's worst 2 finishes at this event have been in the past 2 years. And so he has not been playing nearly as well. And there are factors involved as well, but does.
I think I'm predicting big bounce back McBeth year.
I am too. The question is, can Luke fend off big bounce back McBeth? It's going to be tough. But I mean, Luke, if Luke won this event, it would be a pretty what's the right word? It'd be a pretty spectacular storyline. I don't know if I'd call it a shocking storyline though. The way he plays here, horses for courses, you've really got to give Luke Humphries a lot of credit here because he plays so well and punches well above his weight class. This can kind of feel like maybe a title fight where one of the opponents, came in overweight and Luke Humphries came in and substituted in, and you're like, oh, I probably wouldn't bet on him, but if the odds were right, Luke Humphries could land a knockout punch here.
What odds would you need to take Luke over Paul this week?
I don't want to answer that question.
I mean, would you take plus 200? He did it last year by a lot.
Yeah. I'd probably.
But we're back at the Beast for 3 rounds.
Yeah. But Paul's also coming off of his best starting event since he won Waco in 2022.
That is true.
So that makes me and he's going up against the man who went 18 down at this course as well, right?
That is true.
So gives me a little bit of pause. Plus 350, maybe?
Okay. Luke, here's a fact. Tail of the tape. Over the last 8 rounds at the Beast, so not at Waco, just at the Beast, so excluding Lake Waco stuff.
Yep.
Luke Humphries is 57 under par. Paul McBeth is 55 under par.
Okay.
That's a big sample size. So
that's a big sample size.
It's. I still think you need plus money to take Luke, but
not
a lot.
Crazy money.
If you want to give me plus 350, 450, I'm taking it.
Yeah, I probably would there too. We might be the only people in the history of ever to put Luke Humphries and Paul McBeth in the Statmando head-to-head comparison page.
Hey man,
but it's justified.
That was a legendary round. Like
yes,
and like all the that picture of McBeth putting from the edge of the concrete on hole 1 with the crowd just like wrapped. The cool thing about Waco is that because of the nature of the kind of tight packed course, they like really use every single inch of land they have.
Yeah.
Spectating looks amazing because everyone's just like jammed in there. So even though there's not 10,000 people there, there's like 1,500, 2,000 people.
It looks like 10,000.
It looks awesome on camera.
Yeah.
And like so much energy. Very, very, very fun. So there you go. Pound for pound. Edge, Luke Humphries, maybe at Waco.
Yeah. That's it's close. It's close.
Yeah, it's close. If you want to carry the best, go to pounddiscgolf.com and grab yourself one of the best bags that's ever been made for disc golf. All right, let's get to a couple of notable absences. If you're doing fantasy, you got to know about these. Who's out this week?
Well, Charlie, they're repping your team this week. Eagle McMahon and James Proctor both out, not playing this week.
Proctor hurt, Eagle resting.
Yep. Eagle, I don't think Eagles played particularly well here. I've got 2023 up, and he finished 35th I guess 2 years ago. He was 16 strokes off of the lead. He went 15 down. Winner was -31.
I think Eagle just doesn't really like this course.
I don't think he does either. I really don't.
It's not for him.
No. So makes sense, especially if he's like laying off of the forehand still. Then that makes it even trickier. And so Eagle sitting out as well. FPO, only notable absence, Haley King. Those are the absences. I went and pulled all the absences based on mine, yours, and Dan's fantasy team. So, that's top 18 MPO, top 12 FPO. And so those are the players in that bracket that are missing.
But, as we discussed on Tuesday, of course, the big storyline here is that Kristen is back. She's over in Waco. She's looking awesome in the video of her playing practice rounds. And she absolutely throttled everybody at this course last year. So, she'll be the clear favorite. Hey, really quick. I forgot about this, but we'll throw it up. Betting odds. These are from Europe, coolbet.com, where you can actually make real money bets. Your favorites in MPO: Gannon Burr plus 600, Anthony Barella plus 800, Ezra Robinson plus 800, Ricky 10-1, Calvin 10-1, McBeth 12-1, Lazat 15-1. I would definitely take a little on Kyle Klein at 15-1, and how about Luke Humphries at 30-1?
Probably take a little bit there.
A little sprinkle.
Yeah.
On FPO, Kristen Lott plus 150. Gimme. What's the percentage chances she wins? 60?
Wow.
70?
High?
Don't you think? She's dominated this event.
She has.
People are like, oh, Rust. Well, this is her first event last year.
Oh, man.
Her forehand is unmatched. This is a forehand course. I'm taking plus 150 for sure.
Okay. All right.
That's 40% implied.
I think that number's right. I would have said I think she is sub 50%.
Okay. So here's your other options then, Josh.
Okay.
You can take Evelina or Holland at plus 650, Ella Hansen plus 800, and maybe my favorite underdog bet, Owen Scoggins at plus 1200.
I like the Ella or Owen bets. I think both of those are real nice.
All right. Well, it's time to put our money where our mouth is and throw down some picks. Remember, new scoring system this year. You get bonuses based on where your player landed in last year's DGPT standings. And you get 5 points times the multiplier for a win, 3 points for a podium, 1 point for a top 10. And if you pick all 3 podium players, you get a 5-point bonus. So, Josh, you want to start?
I'll get started. Let's do FPO to start. All right. Come on. Keep it simple, stupid. Kristen Lett at 1.25.
Yeah, just so everybody knows,
Okay.
it's somewhere between lat and let.
Yeah.
However you want to go in there, I think is fine. It's not lot.
Right.
Lat.
Right.
Okay, anyway. Kristen Lett.
1.25. Owen Scoggins, 1.25. First and second last year. Kristen, 20 down. Owen, 13 down. They were clearly the best players. Those forehands are just shred the beast. So gotta give me them both. I am taking a player for my third pick who has never played at Waco before, and I think is getting overlooked for having a skill set that is perfect for this event. Give me Silva Saarinen. Controlled, technical, excellent player. Has obviously, I think the distance restriction is completely lifted for her here. All of those advantages means I think Silva's actually going to play. I hope I might be eating crow, but I really think that Silva is going to play great here. And I don't think she's being talked about enough because she hasn't played before. So give me Silva as my third pick at 2x.
2x. It's nice. I'm taking Kristen and Owen as well. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. I just think Kristen podium feels extremely likely. I mean, there's no reason to think that she's not going to shoot really well, given her skills, how she looks in like form right now on practice round videos. She's like lacing forehand drives, and just like her history at this course, she's been the best player here. It's not even close. And then I'm taking for my a 1.5x multiplier, Ella Hansen.
Yeah, I thought about Ella a lot.
She just played well here, and obviously
she does.
Was awesome last week. Feeling confident. I think, ready for the conditions. I'm just playing the odds here on who's played well here in the past.
It makes sense. I wanted the 2x, and so I went a little deeper, but can't knock.
Now you want to talk about digging a little deeper. Lock in.
Oh no, Charlie.
I got multiple 5x picks in MPO. I'm going outside.
For reference, everybody, according to our point structure, a 5x player getting a top 10 is the equivalent of Gannon Burr getting a win.
That's right.
It's worth the same
points. If I
points.
pick Gannon and he wins, it's worth the same as a top 10 from one of my 5x's. So who am I taking? Well, he's going to be a massively popular pick in the Upshot Picks contest, which you can join by signing up for a subscription, joining the Discord, and then going to discgolf.ultralight.com/upshot-picks, and you can make your own picks all season right alongside us. Still working out a couple kinks with the new scoring system, but we're almost there. Shout out
Just
to
keep
Martin,
putting your picks
who's a champion. Just get the picks in. You're good. It's going to be. We're going to work out the scores.
Yeah.
Luke Humphries is going to be an incredibly popular pick for clear reasons. He's been awesome here, and at 5x, it's like
hard
a top 10 feels more probable than not the way he's been playing at this tournament.
Yep.
And I'm also taking James Conrad, who is shockingly a 5x because he didn't make the Tour Championship last year. And I don't think his game is where it was, but he's played really well here over the last 8 rounds. He had one of the best, 2-round performances at the Beast last season. And again, it's just like the game. Now, I know he doesn't really have much of a forehand, but he doesn't need it, right? He is the one exception to the rule of like a forehand friendly course. I mean, he's able to shape shots with a putter on a backhand line that act like forehands. So I've got Conrad, and then I'm taking Kyle Klein at 1.5x.
Charlie, this is your one chance, probably of the entire year, that you could go 3 5x guys. Take Greg Barsby, you coward. Get rid of Kyle Klein. Take Greg Barsby.
I just like Kyle's game's too good here.
Oh,
I get it. I just think Kyle might win.
5x. No, it's fair. It's fair.
But you're right. Who you taking? You got any fivers?
Man, no, I don't. I sure felt spicy when I was like,
what a
not even spicy.
What a hypocrite.
I'm not. I was saying you should go for all 3 5Xers. No, I'm sitting in 1.5 land as well. Kyle Klein's my first pick, and I'm taking him. But the rest of my guys also in 1.5 land. I want Paul McBeth at 1.5. Starting off hot for this season, and I think is just going to be. I mean, Paul McBeth could win this tournament this year. This could be his bounce back tournament. And so Paul McBeth at 1.5. And then I've got Ezra Robinson at 1.5. It was another player who loves this course, plays well here, would have been second based on just beast rounds last year, if we exclude Lake Waco. And so I'm going for 3 guys, all 3 of whom I think could get this win. And I want them all at the 1.5 mark. That could be the podium right there.
It's true. It could. I like that you're calling for the Ezra double up. It's rare to see a player win the first time and then play well again the next week.
I just need a podium. Just a podium is fine. That's all I'm asking.
I don't really want to open up the wacky Waco conversation once again, but I will say this is a fact. There have been 8 players who have won MPO Pro Tour events with a sub 1025 player rating. 3 of those 8 came at Waco. Now,
are the rest
to be
of them
fair, one of was Colton Montgomery in a 2-round event.
Sure.
And the other 2 were back-to-back, 27 and 2018, Jeremy Coling.
Yep.
And, Germ, first of all, ratings were lower a little bit back then, just across the board. But number 2, Germ, such a tremendous forehand thrower, like a very good fit for this course. He could play great this week.
He could. You take a German instead of Kyle Klein.
But I am just saying, we have seen 3 of the 8 all-time sub 1025 winners come at Waco. This course is democratizing for the field.
Charlie, you got to be careful because you know how our Discord feels about Waco, and you know the opening scene for Shrek when they've got the townspeople like grabbing pitchforks and torches. That's how the Discord comes when we start even hinting that Waco is a little bit odd in its.
The alarms just went off in the Statmando Discord.
Yeah, they're rallying.
It isn't wacky.
Now. It's fluky. That's the word.
Oh, fluky,
really
right?
Hate. Yeah, fluky. They really hate.
It is a refreshing course because it is possible for anyone to shoot well. Mm-hmm. Any tour level pro can shoot well. It's that simple. Okay. That is going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do not miss our Rapid Reacts on Sunday night. We will break down everything we saw this weekend. And shoot us an email if you have any thoughts, upshot@ultiroll.com. Get yourself a subscription today and join the Discord for the Rapid Reacts and more. You will not regret it. In case you're wondering, you do get back access to every Rapid React segment, and we post them as a podcast feed. So if you can't listen live for whatever reason, you can listen to it on your own time. It's basically a whole second Upshot like show that is running for subscribers. We often do an hour.
It's quickest takes. Always the quickest takes after a tournament.
That's right.
We are first.
That's true. All right. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long. Enjoy Waco, everybody. See you in the booth this weekend.